The Reader made a bit of a splash when it released in 2008, receiving an Oscar for Best Actress and a handful of other nominations. Romance isn't really my category, but I'll take a recommendation if a film seems interesting enough. So happy birthday, Mom! This review is for you. The Reader is a romance film about a teenage boy, Michael, who has a sexual affair with Hannah, an older woman. The film mostly follows Michael's life and how strongly the few summer months affected him, with Hannah never straying too far from his memories even years after they separated. Michael goes through law school as he grows up and Hannah's past lands her in court. Out of nowhere, it turns out that she used to be a Nazi guard who burned a building with 300 Jews. The two eventually cross paths again under these unlikely circumstances, and Michael is in a position to help Hannah defend her case. Let's address the elephant in the room first. Statutory rape is a subject matter that is never easy to cover, but the Reader does treat it with a fair bit of dignity and respect. It's approached with all seriousness and never comes off as a joke, nor does it feel like the movie is trying to push some kind of controversial angle just for the purpose of creating some buzz. It is a little ridiculous how anxious these characters are to have sex, but there is a realistic portrayal of both Michael's innocence and Hannah's shame.
I sat in the second carriage because I thought you might kiss me.
Kid, you thought we could make love in a tram?
There are quite a few uncomfortable moments, but part of the film's strength is not shying away from it.
Hope your mother was happy.
Thank you. She enjoyed her meal very much. Come on.
Actors are also appropriately blocked to prevent too much nudity and keep it tasteful. But there are some shots with not only full frontal breasts, but also straight up schlong that cannot be avoided. You've been advised. Strictly speaking, it's a love story through and through, and despite the two of them separating, they never stop thinking about each other. Unfortunately, that's part of the problem. There's not a whole lot else to this movie, as it so narrowly focuses on their love for each other and little else. A third wheel gets introduced a couple of times, but it never goes anywhere, and its only purpose is to reinforce Michael's love for Hannah.
Sorry, really.
Michael, we thought you'd like it.
We've got beer! We've got to dance!
I promised someone.
Michael, please!
The attraction they have for each other doesn't really work that well for me either. I can accept why Michael is attracted to her. He's young and innocent and doesn't know any better, but the only reason why Hannah is going through with this is because she's a pervert. Nothing else makes sense. Later on, it's explained that Hannah loves being read to, so Michael makes it a point to do so whenever possible. That would be fine if that was how their relationship opens up, but it's not. That comes out later. What we have to draw from instead is that Hannah is just a lonely woman who has no qualms about taking advantage of a teenage boy. If the movie explored their relationship from this angle, then that would have been really interesting. We could see some depth to their characters and go into their flaws, but that never occurs. It's simply a case of the two of them knowing and understanding that what they're doing is wrong, but never accepting any responsibility for it, and they hardly bring it up. By the time the second half of the film rolls around, the subject of statutory rape is pretty much swept under the rug. Hannah's court case in which she's being accused of horrible crimes kind of takes center stage here, but the focus on this part is more so on Michael building up the courage to reintroduce himself to Hannah after being separated for so many years. The court case itself is merely the scene, while the driving force continues to be the love that the two of them share. Normally that would be fine, but like I explained earlier, the film doesn't explore this angle well enough. I can understand people not necessarily needing a good reason to fall in love, that's fine, but in this particular case, it comes off as shallow to me. The individual elements of the movie are pretty good. The acting is great across the board, from Kate Winslet to both David Cross and Ralph Fiennes, who portray Michael in his younger and older years respectively. You can really tell that Michael is trying his best to impress Hannah, and it comes off as authentic and realistic.
Billions of bilious blue blistering barnacles and a thundering typhoon! It is water!
But what on earth did you expect it to be?
Whiskey.
Whiskey, by thunder, whiskey!
Whiskey? Come now, Captain. You can't be serious.
That's enough for today, kid.
Hannah, on the other hand, becomes increasingly frustrated at the world being unable or unwilling to understand her position.
Did you not realize that you were sending these women to their death?
Yes, but there were new arrivals. New women were arriving all the time, so the old ones had to make room for the new ones.
I'm not sure you understand.
We couldn't keep everyone. There wasn't room.
But what I'm saying, let me rephrase. To make room, you were picking women out and saying you and you and you have to be sent back to be killed.
Well, what would you have done?
The performances are powerful, and it feels like they would reflect real life. Good stuff overall. Cinematography is simple, but strong, and I respect the lack of special effects. There's a lot of things to this movie that are good, but the story wasn't strong enough. No major conflict, no resolution or moment of redemption. The court case seemed like it might be leading up to something, but that just fizzles out as the film moves on to the next chapter. The entire story hinges on these two characters falling in love with each other and not being able to stay with each other. And that's it. It feels lazy, like an entire plot point was left out, and the supposed shocking ending can be seen from a mile away. If you want a romance movie, then I'm sure you could do a lot worse, but I'm sure you can do a lot better too.
Heaven will take you back and look at you and say, only one thing can make a soul complete. And that thing is love.
Thanks for watching my review on The Reader. If you'd like to be updated on my future videos, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Twitter.